God, I miss the North Country, no power lines, no dead-end streets. Mother Nature waits for me back in the North Country.
Okay, hey, this is Seeley Dave with your Hyperborean reporter with another update on Life Above 8. I am here today with my buddy Tim Krueger. Tim is, if you live in the area, you probably know Tim from the Hungry Bear 100, Chequamegon 100. Tim also runs Esker bikes and Terrene tires. Welcome
Thanks.
to the little Life Above 8 podcast recording here thing.
Thanks, Dave.
Tim, that we're just starting. So Tim, as I mentioned, started the Hungry Bear 100 and the Chequamegon 100 races. The first is the gravel race. The second is the mountain bike race on 100 miles of Canada single track.
Right.
And Tim, why don't you just quickly, give a short little version of how those events started, ideas and stuff like that.
Sure. So I think going back as far as 2008, we started the Chequamegon 100. Further back than that, I consider this my hometown. I lived up here for a bit when my wife and I got married up here. Families up here, so the whole deal. So around that time, I took a job down in Minneapolis for working for Quality Bike, and I wanted to keep a connection up here. Wanted to keep giving back to the trails because I was on the Canada board of directors when I lived up here, but then moved away. Couldn't do that. So we started the Chequamegon 100 as a way, first and foremost, just to bring people up here and show them the single track, because at that time the Chequamegon 40 was in its pure heyday.
Okay.
Probably like and thousands of people would come up here to ride the Chequamegon 40, which was on, the gravel, more of the gravel stuff.
And Berkey Trail.
Exactly.
And stuff like that.
And there were good chunks of people that didn't know the single track existed, right? And so we started it that way, and it was a free event. We're just like, let's get people up and ride single track, right?
Okay.
First couple of years, I think we passed a hat at the end. Donate to Canada, raise a couple $100, things like that, right? And then it started to get big, hundreds of people. And so we started charging for it, more as a way to have some barrier to entry, have some people not just sign up and not show up, be able to plan a little bit.
Give a little more money back to Canada.
And that was it. We didn't want to keep the money. So the proceeds, because at that point you start taking money, then you have insurance and all of that. But we started giving the proceeds to Canada. And we did that for pretty much every year since then. So that's kind of where that came from. At the same time, gravel racing really started taking off, right? And again, same thing. There's the gravel roads up here are second to none, right?
Yeah,
you know it.
Awesome. That's
you go see
part
it.
of the reason why I'm here.
Right? So we put together a course up here that wasn't just, 100 miles of farm fields, was out in the wilderness, was away from pretty much any support, and was pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Lots of elevation in some of that area. So we put that together, and that was instantly also like a couple hundred people the first year, right? And same thing. We on that race, we've given some of the proceeds to a couple different types of organizations
and
nonprofits. Yeah.
Cool. And was Mick Endersby from Rivers Eatery? I know a lot. That's sort of the unofficial finish line of every event up here. But it seemed like Mick was somewhat involved in some of the early days.
Mick's been a great supporter for us. I'd call him like our biggest sponsor, right? That's the thing, is like Mick, such a huge supporter of the community, the unofficial finish line for all events, right? That was it. We basically, every time we said, okay, we're having this event, we're either going to start it at your place or finish it, he's always said, yes, 100%, let's do it. Cool. I'm in. What can I? And it was always, what can I do for you? Yeah. It was his whole approach. Probably one of the best community supporters there is around here, right?
Yeah.
And so with his support, giving us a place to start and finish the events, a way to feed the people, all those things, without Mick, we wouldn't have.
It wouldn't have
We wouldn't have the same feel.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been able to grow them nearly as big because I think we've, to go somewhere else with the infrastructure we were getting from Mick, we would have had to definitely pay other places to get that, right?
So now, some of yours may know, others may not, that Mick and Beth sold the Rivers Eatery, and they sold it to the Parkers, another local family, and they're running it. I've actually filled in.
Nice.
My wife and I have filled in there when they've been a little short-staffed. A couple of nights, Shelley's asked us to come over, and I've served beer, and Liz has helped with pizza and dishes and stuff like that. So,
awesome.
So I think we're going to stick with that as
cool.
I think, but that sort of leads into the sort of like these events. You started, your business has grown now, and I moved up here a year ago to work for Cambo, which lasted a minute and a half. That's a whole nother story, but. And a joy, of course, the life in the Northwoods, biking, skiing, hunting, fishing, all that sort of stuff. And you mentioned to me that, hey, with my background at the Bike Fed and all the events that we worked on there, that maybe there'd be a way for me to help you with these events. So last year I sort of shadowed you guys and learned how what the feel of the events was, and I quickly got a really good sense of it, I think, and that in my mind these events feel kind of like a family reunion.
Right.
They are a race, but there's not a podium. There's no prizes. People do care about going fast, but and they are timed or not sometimes. So they are a race, but more of like a timed family reunion is sort of how it felt.
I think that's the biggest thing. Over the time, we tried to definitely create a certain community that we wanted around these events, right? And every bike race out there has a different feel, right?
Sure.
And so we chose some very specific things we did with the races to build a very specific community, in that we were not prize focused. We were not swag focused. We kept the entry fees low and didn't offer free T-shirts and water bottles and all of that stuff. And we kept the expectations low. Like we marked the courses fully, but it wasn't like a fully taped UCI approved race course, right? And we did that on purpose because I think we wanted people that were more into that bit of an adventure, right? As opposed to wanting to show up and be catered to and have everything perfect.
Yeah.
And exactly right. So I think over that decade we've been doing this, we definitely built a community that likes the way we do it, and definitely have folks that don't like the way we do it go do other events. That's fine.
They've got all the age group,
exactly. Exactly. We have
races.
Basically we have a very, very tight crew of folks that come to our race because that's their thing.
Right. Yeah. So I really got a good sense of that, I think, last year, and Tim asked, your business you said was kind of just growing and you don't have quite as the time to invest in it.
And I think, so definitely my business is growing. I got to put a lot more time and effort into that. And so we were looking to definitely transition these events. Dave, I liked when you said when you were at Cambo, we first started talking about this. I really liked your vision and your drive and your motivation and how you wanted to continue what we're doing as far as the big picture, but you also have some very unique plans and ways you want to do it. And I think your vision is where we wanted this to go.
Good evolution.
Exactly. So, hearing everything you had to say, I'm like, you got it.
So Tim and I had been talking about, perhaps Canva taking over these events when I was the executive director at Canva, and then, I left Canva, and Canva doesn't have a new ED yet. I'm sure they're going to hire somebody, and hopefully it'll be somebody great. But there was some debate also at Canva then, as I was leaving, that about whether or not they really want events at all.
Right.
They want to stay just a trails organization, which is fine. That's Canva's decision, but you still needed some someplace to go with your event. So
Right.
I said at least for a while,
Right.
I'd be happy because I thought they were really cool when I shadowed you guys last year, and I don't want to see them go away just because you're too busy to run them.
Right.
So
and I think that was OD and I's motivation is we definitely wanted to make sure the vision continued.
Right.
So yeah.
So to all the racers and riders that are looking forward to racing the Hungry Bear and Chequamegon 100 in 2022, I will be the new race director, and I'll be launching registration. And as soon as I get a couple of loose ends tied up regarding insurance and a couple other things, but I hope to have registration open, early in the new year, January 1st.
That's great.
January 3rd,
That's about normal for us. I mean, again, we were always run this pretty low tech. Some years we've had registration in December. Some years it wasn't until March.
Yeah.
But if I think that's about right for what our group expects.
Good. So although you don't really have time to run these events,
I'll still be there.
Right. That's what I've said.
What I'm actually looking forward to is I want to ride a little bit this year.
Nice.
For one of the first times ever. So, but yeah, I'll still be there for several years to come, I would say, helping out. But I'll probably also getting to ride a little bit too.
Nice. Yeah, I said that. I've been to Chequamegon Mountain Bike Festival, I think 17 times, and
nice.
I've ridden it once. Because
really?
I've always been working.
Sure.
Every year I've been working, so I totally feel you on that, and I look forward to having you and Odia back in the spring and summer for these events.
I think we can probably count on Odia's secret aid stations out in the woods.
Yeah, and I do have a few ideas. I don't want to change things up a bunch, but I do have a few ideas to add a couple little fun little twists, sort of Seeley Dave style.
Good, I think that's important too, because that's like I said, we definitely built a formula that worked, but also you don't want it to become too formulaic where people get bored and have this exact same thing every year. And I think for instance, like 2 years ago we introduced the 30 miler. 3 years ago, maybe that helped a bit, and also we started bringing food to the end of it, right? For the Chequamegon 100, that is when Mick was too busy for the finish of the Check 100, and so yeah, we were.
Well, and
cool to see what you come up with.
I think there's some opportunities with the new Portage Bar and in between, and how they've been hosting bands and stuff like that. And so I think maybe there's a little bit of...
Be fun to bring back that old, the way the Cable Off-Road Classic used to finish straight up the railroad grade in the town there between. That'd be fun.
So I think I've got a couple ideas that we'll try to put together. Not in any big hurry to make any changes, but... So anyway, we just wanted to let everybody know that the races are on for 2022. Of course, we've got a pandemic and we've got an Omicron, and there are more Greek letters yet to be discovered. So we will, of course, be conscious of safety protocols, and just as you guys did last year, and we'll try to adjust the race. But we'll make sure it happens. Riding out in the middle of the woods on gravel roads or single track is about
pretty safe.
The funnest, safest way to social distance I can think of. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And I thought our crew did really good. Like last year when we were on the Hungry Bear, there was a bit more of a risk, and so we had a mask requirement at the start finish lines, and no party or anything, unfortunately. But the racing is safe, and then we were able to be a little more lax at the Check 100 last year, because it was kind of a lull.
Things had really dropped by then,
but yeah, I think that's the biggest thing everyone has to know is it's a very sliding scale that only gets decided, a couple weeks out, based on the current situations, and but at least the racing in the woods is the safe and fun
I do
part.
feel really confident that we can pull that off.
Oh yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks everybody again.
Thanks.
Seeley Dave signing off from Life Above 8.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep. Thanks, Tim. Yes.
Mother Nature waits for me.